Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to learn about the identifying rational zeros. So what we have is called the rational zero theorem. This is what we call like the little P over Q method. And when we do the P over Q method, what we're going to do is we're actually going to have to find possible rational zeros. They're not going to be given to us. So if we have this example, f of x equals 6x to the fourth over 22x to the third plus blah blah blah. If 4/3 is a 0, that means 4 is a factor and then 3 is a factor. So that kind of that's going to be more confusing. So here's the big things you need to know. If we're going to find possible zeros in the form of P over Q, P is your factor of the constant term. So your constant term is this number here at the end. Your Q is a factor of your leading coefficient. So your leading coefficient would be here. If we had to do a P over Q for this example, P over Q, then we would have factors of 40 over 6. And we'll list those out and I'll show you that in the next example. But that is where you find your Q here in the front, and P is actually in the back, so it doesn't go in alphabetical order. So for example 2, we have to list all of our possible rational zeros for our function. So we have a 10 is our P, 3 would be Q, and if we list our possible zeros, so P is, we need to list out our factors of 10, and then Q would be our factors of 3. So when we list these out, these are all plus or minuses, because we know that plus or minus 1 and a plus or minus 10, those can give you a 10. We also know that plus or minus 2 times a plus or minus 5 can give us a 10. So those would be all of your factors of 10. And then we're going to divide by your factors of 3. So we're going to say plus or minus 1 and plus or minus 3. Now this is not the end. So what you're going to do is you're going to pair up everything that's on top with everything that's on the bottom. So we're going to take a 1 over a 1, and then we're going to have to take a 1 over a 3. Then we're going to have to take a 2 over 1, and then a 2 over 3, 5 over 1, a 5 over 3, 10 over 1, 10 over 3. You're going to have to list out all of these factors. So if we take a 1 divided by 1, that is plus or minus 1. Then we have a 1 divided by 3. That is a plus or minus 1/3. So now we're done with the 1. Let's go to the 2. 2 over 1, that is a plus or minus 2. 2 over 3, that is a plus or minus 2/3. Done with the 2. So do the same thing with the 5. And then we're also going to do the same thing with the 10. So you end up getting all of these possible zeros. And the reason these are important is because we're going to be finding zeros of our functions, but we're not going to be given a factor like we were back in the previous lesson in 5-6. So here are your possible factors. Now when you think of possible factors, you have a total of 8. Psych, you have 8 times 2 because you have 8 negatives. You have 8 positives. So you have a total of 16 possible zeros. So let's do the same thing here for B. You're going to do P over Q. So we're going to need to find factors of, well, we have a 1 here, that's Q. Then 24 is P. So if we find factors of 24 over 1, well, this really ends up just giving us, if you're going to find factors of 1, you really just need to find factors of 24. Okay, if you're dividing then by 1, then you're just going to end up get a 4. So you have plus or minus 1 times our plus or minus 24. You have plus or minus 2 and then plus or minus 12. You have a plus or minus 3. You have a plus or minus 8. And then we also have a plus or minus 4 and plus or minus 6. So here are all of the possible zeros that you would have for a 24 over 1. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just kidding. You have